Stop wasting my time. I know what you want. You know what I need, or maybe you don't. Do I have to come right out flat and tell you everything? Give me some money. This is the Community Solutions Podcast.
Who is that, the Beatles?
Spinal Tap.
Oh, okay. Well, it's like I've said before.
Yeah.
If Paul McCartney would have stuck with those three guys, he never would have made it.
That's true. That's true. It's all true, Minnesota. I am Jason Bradley. Andrew Richter with me as always. What's
Jay,
up?
how's it going?
Seems like it's been forever. So much has gone on in the last... Oh, when did we podcast last? It's been...
Not too long ago.
It feels like it. I tell you, there is a lot going on out there, Minnesota, and the more we get in touch with y'all, the more we find out about how bad it is, how much it really is the same from city to city. Not just ordinances, not just the same lousy programs going in, not the same, all of it's the same, including people who get their power challenged and they all of a sudden become a different person and they start to lash out, and it's fun. It's fun how predictable it is sometimes.
It's fun, but it's also depressing. I mean, it's not as, I mean...
Well, I feel bad for the people that live in those cities. Yeah. I really do, and that's why we do this, is, we feel for you. We were there at the ground level 9 years ago when our city council did what they did to us, and ever since have been calling us every name in the book. I mean, not the new council, the old council. Still to this day calling us names. We get it. We understand, and it's good for us that they do that because it helps us to identify with you when we talk to you. And so we'd like to keep our head in the game. We like to remember where we came from, as we're going out and seeing the rest of the state. And it's been really good to meet with so many people and find out what's going on, where they live. And I've had a lot of fun this last year, Andrew.
Yeah, it's been terrific. I mean, going out and meeting people is the funnest part of doing this in my book.
Absolutely.
The personal relationships that you make with people, to me, nothing is better, nothing's more long-lasting than that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's been great to do that. And I wouldn't trade that for anything. That's just me.
Absolutely. I wouldn't care what's going on in Paynesville if I didn't have a vested interest in the people there. I would worry, like most people do, I mean, innocently enough, about what's on the TV tonight, or what time's dinner done, or why am I not getting paid what I deserve at work, or and that's the stuff that consumes us, but until we figure out that there's more to the story. And that's what we're finding that people are waking up to all around the state, is that, oh my gosh, there's more to the story. There is this whole other layer that I didn't know about, and they get mad.
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you what, you want to talk about pulling this layer back?
Yes.
How about we find...
Let's do it.
How about we... Here's an interesting subject for today.
Okay.
My friends. Who's bankrolling your candidates for office?
That's right. And that's why you got the song you got today at the beginning, not because we want your money, but because this show is all about money.
Right, and let me say something straight out here.
Yes.
We are a representative republic, and I believe in the First Amendment.
Yeah.
And you have got the right to free speech, you've got the right to petition government. That's why I believe I have issues with some campaign finance laws, because I think they limit your free speech. Some people think, well, it's all about who has the dollar, has more speech than somebody else. Mm-hmm. I don't buy that. I think I know plenty of people with money who don't give a nickel. I mean, I do. That's just the truth. I mean, I know people with far more money than me who don't give money anywhere. But using influencing your vote is the oldest thing in the book, and I do believe the First Amendment applies. So, but I also believe in full transparency, that you ought to know who's doing that.
Absolutely.
And who isn't, and who's taking money from what. And when we talk about campaign finance, again, it's another thing where cities, counties, school districts, so on and so forth, don't get the attention that they should.
Right.
And I'm not just talking about transparency. I'm talking about groups and advocacy PACs, or whatever you want to call them, political action committee, not putting the money where they need to.
Right.
Who's doing that, who's not, why they're doing so. And my kind of being flabbergasted at the fact that some groups I know and I agree with don't give a whit about local elections.
Right.
And the understanding that leads to higher elections for some of the people who are in local office. Now, interesting thing. One of the things I want to explain first off is how campaign finance works. In municipal elections, there's a limit of $600 per couple, $300 per individual that can give in a year to a local campaign. So, in other words, if you decide to run right now, you can collect money between now and the next year. If you decide to run for 2018, if I decided that, Jason, you could give me up to $300 in 2017, and you could do the same in 2018.
Okay.
Same thing with a couple. A couple could give $600 one year, $600 the next year.
Okay.
So there is a limit. Groups have a limit. Political parties have a limit. PACs have a limit. I believe it's $600 per PAC. I believe it is $300 in a year from a partisan party toward local elections.
Okay.
Now, state and federal elections have different limits.
Right.
So don't assume that's the same. We're talking about municipal here. So those are the campaign limits that can be doled out in a campaign. So we have to set the stage with that first and foremost. So when raising money, you're reporting. You only have to itemize donations that are $100 or more. Just so if you look at a campaign report and say, okay, it says they raised $2,000, but I can only account for $1,000, that's because they received a bunch of small donations.
Right.
Somebody gets a $50 or what's called a donation in kind. If it does not exceed $100, a donation in kind would be like, here, I'll pay for your website for $80.
You can use my restaurant for a kickoff party.
Yes. Right. I'll pay the fee, and they're not contributing directly, they're doing something for you.
Yes.
It's called a donation in kind. So you'll see that on a campaign finance report too. So bottom line is, and campaign finance reports I feel like they're not easy to read and understand.
Yeah.
Disbursements and your cash on hand versus your total you've brought in. And I don't want to get into the minutia of that because that's really not what the show's about. But those are all things you're going to see if you go to the Campaign Finance Board of Minnesota, which is not an easy website to navigate.
No,
it is not. It is pretty awful, actually. But there are cities like Crystal, as an example. You can thank the new council for this, that puts up the finance information right there. You click elections, and if you go down there is links to the financial reports of 2014 and 16. That's what they have on the website, the last two rounds. So
transparency is a beautiful thing,
right,
isn't it?
Most cities don't have that.
Oh, no.
Most cities just, you want financial information, you go find it.
Yeah.
That's their attitude. So, but it is the new council that did put that out there. And it's interesting, Jay, when you look at contributions of who is trying to influence elections in a certain city.
Yeah, it is. I mean, money can come from a lot of places, like
Money
you
can
said.
come from anywhere.
Yeah.
Family members. It can come from outside organizations. You name it. It can come from all of the above. Political parties, PACs, unions.
Yeah, and really it is important to look at these financial reports because it's going to tell you who's paying for your candidate. Is it coming from the people of the city? Is it coming from a PAC? Is it coming from a political party? Is it coming from unions? This really is a really important part. The bigger the race, obviously, the more convoluted those reports get, and it gets harder because you're going to find that, especially at the state and federal levels, they're always getting money from financial institutions, and they're getting money from this company and that company, and it doesn't necessarily mean they're in the pocket of that company, but it could. But at the local level, I mean, it really does paint a very clear picture, I think.
I think so, too, and I think it is... weird. We're going to pick on. Pick on's not the right word. We're going to
make an example
of our wonderful former mayor of Crystal.
Oh,
looking at, and I know she's in love with me. I mean, there's no doubt
she's
about
listening
that.
right now.
She's absolutely listening, wondering what in the world she can do to get her power back. And we can tell all our secrets here. She's not smart enough to follow them. So. If you look at Miss Bowman, if you look at her campaign finance report, first off, she outspent Mayor Jim Adams by quite a bit of money.
Yes, she did.
Or outraised him, I should say.
Yeah.
But Renee didn't get very much money from Crystal citizens.
I noticed that. In fact, her first donation was $250 from her husband, Councilman Joseph Selton. Yes.
Which was probably just a transfer. Renee probably went into Joe's account, transferred the money over it, told Joe about it afterward. Yeah. That would be my guess as to what happened. Just saying. But the interesting part is she raised about $3,300. I shouldn't say she raised it because that makes it sound like she went out and got it.
No.
By my count, 2,400 of it was from outside organizations, if you will, that are not in Crystal, not affiliated with Crystal, and are just outside groups trying to influence, and they still couldn't put her over the top.
Oh, exactly.
She got a few other donations from people in town that were $100, and she must have gotten some little donations from other people. But let's go through. Now, first off, again, I don't want to prevent these people from donating, or these groups. It's their constitutional right to do it. However, voters ought to know, who's looking out for the city, and who's taking money from some labor union in Minneapolis. Oh,
it's true. And I think this paints a pretty clear picture of where Renee got her money from. Like you were saying, there were some smaller ones coming in. It really it amounted to $13.40 from personal, and then there was some undefined ones of under $100 for like another 15.20%. So 28, almost 29% came from the people of Crystal, or
not necessarily Crystal.
Well, people,
right? Individuals. Right? It could have been from Antarctica for all we know.
Well, individuals, or if a political organization or somebody else gave less than $100. So it kind of gets a little muddy at that point.
That's true. But somebody could have given her 99 and they were a PAC, and they don't have to report that.
Right.
So that is true. But I mean, North Central States Regional Carpenters from St. Paul now gave her $200. Now let me ask a question here. Before we keep going on this. Why would a union do this? Why would we're going to talk about Women Winning, which is just a pro-abortion group. They have nothing to do with winning women. If you don't want unborn babies killed, they have no use for you.
Yes.
Which, whatever, that's their position. I'm not here to debate that issue here. Why would they give, Jay, to a local candidate? I mean, abortion isn't an issue that the city of Crystal is going to deal with on any level.
No.
Unless they want to pass a meaningless resolution, which I don't know what that does.
Right.
So why would they give money to a person running for the mayorship?
Well, if I was in charge of a PAC, here's what I would do. I would start funding candidates that agreed with my position early on in the event that they get onto a city council and someday have higher aspirations of going into county, state, federal government. I've got my people that I brought up from the bottom. I know that they're good.
So, this is building a bench.
Yes.
This is building a farm team. This is everything that we... who's doing it? The unions are doing it. The pro-abortion. Where are the Second Amendment people?
Well, you're not going to find them on Renee's.
Not on Renee's, but where are they giving money to city councils?
I haven't seen any, but I'm not saying they haven't, but I haven't seen any.
Where are the Taxpayers League? And are they? They're busy getting their big scorecard, which of course makes everybody look terrible. Which is cherry picking 10 or 5,000 votes, which serves no purpose at all.
Yeah, but as we've said, I mean, local property taxes are out of control.
Out of control. I mean, they are obscene. Yeah. And where's the Club for Growth?
Yeah, they're not there.
So we're completely ignoring the farm team, the party building, the next generation of people who in 6 years, 8 years, 10 years will be in St. Paul and Washington.
Right.
Well, that's just... It explains a lot of why we're at where we're at.
Right.
You know, in some ways. I mean, you see pro-abortion people. Where are the pro-life people?
Right.
Again, wherever you stand on the issue, I'm not here to debate that. I'm saying, why do we see it so one-sided?
Well, I'm sure, though, you know, all the money that they spent to, you know, Stuart Mills, I'm sure was well spent.
I'm sure, like Stuart Mills, it's not a knock on him.
No, but it's like they put all this money.
They put all their eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
And then lost, and now their eggs are all cracked.
Right.
They got scrambled eggs.
It's the same problem with PACs as it is for candidates on the conservative side. They get these starry eyes, and it's like, oh, we gotta go for the big races. We gotta have the top. We can't be bothered with city council stuff, school board stuff.
Yeah, think of all the big Republican donors, from Bob Cummins to Brian Sullivan to Stanley Hubbard. Do you ever see their names on the one donation from them could win or a PAC could make or break elections everywhere. But they're too busy giving money to Eric Paulson sitting on $1 million.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Hey, it makes no sense. Hey, Republicans, I can't solve your problems. Sorry. Just can't, don't want to. All right. Minneapolis Regional Labor Federation.
Yeah. $600.
$600.
Wow.
Oh, goodness. Once again, not in Crystal. SEIU Local 113 in St. Paul. Women winning. IBEW, that's the electricians, Minneapolis.
Yeah.
IUPAT, District Council 82 PAC in Little Canada. And the Laborers District Council, I guess I went over. The one thing I don't see in there is ST45 DFL. What happened there?
Well,
they gave her husband money in 2014.
Oh, they sure did.
They gave Mark Hoffman money.
Yeah, like what, $450 or something?
I think it was
it was
$150. It was $150 in the primary, and $150 in the. They split up the $300.
Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yep. And then, if they gave Renee anything, it was less than $100.
I don't know. I don't know that they did.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't have hurt them to put that on, in a 60-40 DFL city. It wouldn't have hurt them wouldn't have hurt her to report that.
Yeah.
So, sorry to all you people who didn't get a return on your investment there.
Yeah.
But just in counting up the outside groups, and this is that gave $100 or more.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know who. I assume an outside group is not going to give somebody $50, but that's just my guess. You're looking at 2,400 of the 33 and change that she raised came from groups, not a single one in the city of Crystal.
Yeah. So 62.5% came from unions and union PACs.
Right.
Of her money.
So there's who she's in the pocket of. Now, again, these unions have the right to give money.
Yeah.
But where are the right to work folks? I mean, where are they given? Just going to let unions run? The only people who, you know.
So if you're in a union, your union dues went to
Renee Bowman's losing campaign. Yeah. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you where it's really prevalent, where I really think it's a total conflict of interest in school board races.
Oh, yes.
I mean, here you have, let me ask you a question. If the unions already have representation in school districts, and then the unions negotiate and the approval process is done by the school board. Mm-hmm. Well, if the unions have representation in negotiating, and then the people who approve the contract are union people, who represents you?
Exactly.
I mean, they basically own both sides. Mm-hmm. So how are the people ever going to get a fair deal? Who's looking out for them?
Yeah, nobody is.
And the unions give max contributions, which I think is $600. To their candidates, and there's no counterbalance to it out there.
No, there's not. I mean, and you see it. I mean, the unions kind of have a lock on everything. The school districts. I mean, look at when there's a referendum. School events, you get all the literature for vote yes. Yeah. Whereas they're not going to let people with vote no literature into the schools, but it's a conflict of interest. Yeah, nobody cares. That's the way that they do business in the schools.
And they provide a lot of indirect help.
Yeah,
volunteers, lit droppers.
Oh yeah,
people who work at. I'm thinking more on the state level here now, but people who work at booths at the state fair, go in parades.
Yeah,
I mean they get a lot of help that's not on the books, that's not donations. Mm-hmm. A lot of volunteers and things like that come through with that too. So total huge conflict there. And I'm sure they all would hit the pavement for Renee. I'm sure they did.
I'm sure they did. All of them.
Well, we still have a sense of humor here.
We do. So, I mean, that's crazy. I mean, we'll just look at this. I mean, 62.5% from unions and union PACs. Almost 9% coming from other PACs. And then, we can track 13.4% was actually from people that we know because it was over $100. And then 15.2% are undefined, meaning it's less than $100. Could be people, could be organizations, could be the mailman. We don't know.
Could be people in Crystal, could be people not in Crystal.
Yeah,
could be her barber,
could be Bernie Sanders. We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, but this is. I mean, who's trying to buy your city? Mm-hmm. Is a good way to frame it.
Yeah, well, just to be fair, I mean, we need to take a look at her competitor, Mayor Jim Adams.
Oh, yeah.
I think we should take a look at all the unions and special interest groups that funded his campaign.
Oh, I'm sure.
So, how much did he raise? I think I've got this handy. You probably don't at the moment.
No, I don't.
So, it looks like...
2,300, I want to say, was the total.
$25.28 and 96 cents. And just so you know, total cash on hand when it was all said and done, $91.16. He spent almost all of it on his campaign.
Yeah.
Did not hold on to it and sandbag it for anything else. He went all out. I'm just saying. So we take a look at his list of donations out of everything that's above $100. Here it is.
Oh,
There's nothing. There's nothing. There's nothing.
So he got it all from individuals, $100 and less.
His wife didn't even give him over $100.
Well, maybe Liz would let him transfer money like Joe. Probably, safe deposit box, but Renee made a key. Oh, yeah, that's right. Joe was shaving or something, and Renee went in and took $250. That's what happened. You know who wears the pants in that relationship.
Yeah.
No offense, Joe, but we all know. You don't have to say anything. That is really incredible that somebody raised that kind of money. I mean, in small donations. You talk about a grassroots campaign.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And just think, he went out and defeated the union money, the winning women money, and all that was defeated by, kind of a one-man show.
That woman didn't win.
Yeah. Women winning is kind of an oxymoron,
but that is amazing to me, I think that that's really telling. You have all these people donating to Jim's campaign, and you have all these organizations donating to Renee's.
But it also explains in some ways how he won. If Renee got practically no donations from Crystal residents, and Jim got a whole bunch of little donations, well, they all went out and voted for him.
Yeah.
So if you're getting $50 here, $50 here, $50 here, $50 here, you're picking up voters with it.
Right.
If you're getting union money and just sending out a mailer, it's just assuming that's what's going to do it for you. It's probably a losing strategy, but keep doing it.
Yeah, that's good.
Don't bother me. And I'll tell you what else. Remember, she had that lit piece with Mike Opat. I wonder who paid for that.
Yeah,
'cause it's not specified in her expenses, I don't think.
I don't think so either.
If she paid for, I'm sort of curious who prepared, and I don't recall.
But you don't have to. All you have to say is like literature,
right?
But
the lit piece itself has to say something, and I don't know.
Right.
I don't remember what that was.
Yeah. What did she spend money on? Bank account, filing fee, ballot list, Minnesota Secretary of State, Whiz Bang Parade registration. Why is she in the Whiz Bang Parade?
She forgot what city she lives in, I guess. She wants to spend money on that letter.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
Well, Crystal residents do come to that, so. But I think you're better off knocking on doors that day rather than showing up in a parade in the wrong city.
Yeah, but the other expenses. I mean, she spent a total of what?
Well, yard signs have to be. She must have spent some of her own money.
Yep.
Could have raised something in 2015.
Yeah, she could have had some leftover from her.
Oh, that's true. Yep.
But yeah, Whiz Bang Parade registration, Office Depot, office supplies. She spent $489.15 on office supplies at Office Depot.
Boy, that's a lot of blackboards and pens and.
Wow.
What was that? Making copies? I don't know what.
$120 on T-shirts. I do remember seeing those T-shirts.
Yeah, where the Bowman and the O look like an egg.
Yeah, she laid the egg.
Yeah. I wonder how many eggs she's laid since then.
Oh boy, we gotta.
Oh, you're gonna get in trouble for this.
she's going to hate me more than you.
Darn right. About time.
A
That's
week
fine
or two.
with me.
$885 on printing. She actually paid the Minnesota DFL $300 for Vote Builder. That must be lists of DFL voters. She had lists of DFL voters and still couldn't
Their
get them mobilized.
Well, their lists must not have been that great, or they don't have as many identified DFLers as they think they do.
In our
could be
area?
a lot of people in apartments. It could be,
Yeah.
A lot of young people who maybe are voting for the first time. I mean,
I would think in our area they'd have a pretty good accounting.
well, you'd think that, but I mean, you think about it. Think about it like this: if there's 6,000 DFL voters in Crystal, and there's 4,000 Republican voters, do Republicans have 4,000 people on their list? No. So DFLers, maybe they're not as organized as we give them credit for.
Huh?
I mean, that's always a possibility. So
It is a possibility, I guess. Lawn signs, $1,341.
wish you got ripped off on that.
Oh boy.
I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
You never have more than one color on a lawn sign. That's stupid to do that. I
Yeah.
bet Jim Adams signs cost half that much money.
Probably.
He had twice as many locations.
He did. An ad in the Minneapolis Labor Review for $151.25.
I wonder who saw that. How many Crystal voters get that?
I don't know.
That she doesn't already have voting for her.
Yeah.
I mean, if you already got the union endorsement, they already got their union thing. You know, all 50 of them that live in Crystal.
Oh. $575 for that banner ad in the Sun Post.
Huh. On the very top? I remember that.
Top of the front page, yeah. $150 for Facebook post boosts. That worked out well.
Yeah, I think we saw more of them than anybody else did. You know what's more effective than that?
Yeah.
Have 20 people share what you write. There. I just paid for a Facebook post.
Actually, yeah, that's pretty
Well, maybe
good.
not Renee, but I have a lot of friends.
Yeah. $228.69 for an ad in the Minneapolis Labor Review. She took out 2 ads. The second one cost more than the first.
Huh. They must have been trying to stick it to her. Just like, we don't like you. We're going to make you pay more.
I don't know, but that's... So she took out, 4 ads, lawn signs, paid for voter lists, paid for printing for her lit, shirts, all of that stuff, and she still can't... she lost votes from the election before that.
A lot of votes. She's gone backwards. If you go back to 2008, where she was reelected fairly comfortably,
Yeah.
I mean, 20 some odd points. She's gone from getting 65% of the vote to 44% of the vote.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still nothing but get worse. Memo to people who do not like the current council in Crystal: you need new candidates. Not Renee knockoffs, not the same recycled 4 names. Step 1 for you guys to have a chance next year, you need new people. And my guess is, again, like I've said, we give them too much credit. I don't think they're sitting there planning and thinking ahead. I think they're whining on Facebook. I think they're bitching and complaining. I think that's pretty much all they're doing.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Oh, well, that's how that worked out. Let's look just for fun. I'm going to go back to Jim's, just so that we can look at what he actually spent money on.
Now, keep in mind, Jim had a lot of yard signs from this election.
He did, yeah.
Renee had brand new signs.
Some of them were brand new. She still had those big old...
Oh, did she?
Remember those? Were they vinyl, or were they, some people around City Hall area put those big ones up? I think those were the same old ones as before.
The ones with duct tape on them?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, so...
And that's always bad. You have to have one logo.
Yeah.
Confuses people when they're driving by and they see the same name on 2 different things. But
so
Jim got some new signs.
Couple of bank fees, campaign literature, postage, thank you celebration.
Yeah, you know what?
Advertising campaign. Yeah.
I mean, he didn't spend $500 on a Sun Post ad and $400 on getting a list and $400 on a union ad.
Yeah, he didn't.
Amazing.
He didn't have to do that. So, it's amazing. I mean, the different ways that money comes in and goes out in a campaign. Why don't we switch gears a little bit? Because, I mean, we're looking at city council, and that's important. Let's look at something that's maybe a little bigger potatoes. How about the county level?
Well, we're looking at our buddy Mike Opat.
Yeah.
Over in Robbinsdale, District 1.
Yeah.
Which is at Robbinsdale, Crystal, New Hope, Brooklyn Center, Brooklyn Park, Osseo.
Yeah.
Roughly. I don't have totals for him. What I took was some, again, people who made contributions to the commissioner. And once again, most of them, especially the big ones, he's got a handful of big donors, but anybody with his name and over a big area, and as you know, Hennepin County is a big job. I mean, you know, there's more people in Hennepin County than there are in any congressional district in Minnesota, just to give you an idea of how many people are there. But some of the things that, let's see, Dorsey Political Fund. I don't know who they are.
That's a PAC.
Yeah, is that Ken Dorsey, the old quarterback from Miami?
I don't think so. I don't think he lives up here.
Yeah, he doesn't have to.
Right. Well, that's true. No, this is a Minnesota PAC. I've seen their name on a list of PACs registered in Minnesota.
Okay, so they gave him $400. Feiergy Baker Daniels Political Fund. Who the hell is that?
I've never heard of that one.
Feiergy. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Feiergy.
500 smackaroonies. HGA Political Action Committee, $250. IATSE 13 stagehands. Are they like Out to Sea, the movie Out to Sea with is that Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon? Or are they the dance hands? They were dance hands. I'm sorry.
No, this would be a union for people that do set up and tear down for play productions.
They have a union?
Yeah, they do.
Set up and tear down.
Yeah.
That's a unique skill that needs a union?
Just about anything like that, whether you're looking at like roadies for concerts, stagehands for plays, they all have unions.
You're kidding.
No, right. I'm not.
500 smackaroonies. Joint Council 32 Drive, $900. I think county, the limit is higher. By the way.
Probably.
I think the individual limit is 1,000 actually.
Okay.
And I think an organization is more. He has some $1,000 contributions. Some from some guy in Lionel Lakes, which of course is not in Hennepin County.
No.
This company Mortensen. I don't know who they are, but he has a $500 donation, another $500, another $200, another $200, and another $200, all from this Mortensen company.
It's a company. Does it say where the company is?
No. It does not. I just wonder if they're light rail, connected to light rail somehow, like Parsons Electric, which has given him a bunch of money as well.
Oh, that would be interesting.
And Therese Kaiser gave her money. She should have given herself a little bit more rather than... I wonder if that was a donation. I wonder if that was a political back scratching for the joint lit piece.
Yeah. M.A. Mortensen Company looks like it is in Golden Valley. It is a construction and real estate development company.
Oh, so I bet they have some TOD plans.
Let's create some positive energy, it says, with windmills on the front page. And clean energy, inspiring spaces, reliable infrastructure, and productive environments. For the advancement of modern society, which means... TOD.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. Yep. So that's just an example of who's giving money to Mr. OPAT.
Yes.
So we all know, and again, those people work in Golden Valley. Of course, that's not in District 1.
No.
And who knows where they live. But again, you see the outside influence, the outside forces that are, when Mike OPAT goes out and advocates for transit-oriented development, he is doing it with money getting into office by people that he does not represent. But again, I come back to, where is the counterpoint?
Right.
Where are the people who don't want whatever you just said, that gobbledygook you just read, infrastructure for the 27th century or whatever? We're all going to be in hydrogen Jetson mobiles or something.
Bodiless heads in a.
We're going to be in the Stone Age at that rate. We're going to be Fred and Barney pedaling on with their feet, but yet driving somehow.
Oh boy.
Barney, my boy. What was the group? The Water Buffaloes. That was part.
That's it.
Whatever. That was like their Masonic lodge. They were part of it.
Oh boy, no! I think it's going to be more like we're all going to be in this virtual reality.
It's scary.
Yeah,
it really is.
I don't know.
And it is scary how one side has the attention of our representatives.
Yeah.
People, conservatives sit here and they complain about TOD, yet why isn't there a PAC to put people in office who are not in favor of it?
I don't know.
Where the hell is that? Where's anti-transit for livable communities? Where the hell are they?
That doesn't sound as good coming off the tongue. I think they need a better name.
No, yeah, I know. I'm just, I'm thinking on the fly.
Yeah.
But lots of money gets thrown around in these elections, and like I've said, you can make $500 go much further in a city campaign. A $500 contribution to somebody running for governor is kind of, you use that for toilet paper. I mean,
right.
But something like that, and where are the groups that are not, they could spend their money so much better than sending around their stupid questionnaires.
Think about, just for a moment, if somebody and I'll just throw the name out there because it's the first one that comes to my mind, Stanley Hubbard, decided to give $500,000 to local candidates that matched his values.
Yeah.
And so he went and gave $3,000 to how many candidates?
Well, he couldn't give that much.
It would have to be, if he maxed out,
$300 or $1,000 to a county candidate.
Right. Yeah. How many he could fund?
He could fund the entire state. He could probably fund thousands.
Game over. You just built your bench.
Yeah, I know. But where is? I tell you what, the MNGOP is so screwed up. I got a letter. Did I tell you about the letter I got from MNGOP?
No.
From the chair. I'm not gonna say anything bad here. And it was all about the new thing, Make Minnesota Red, which I keep. That's the mantra. I guess that's that's her thing so far, is she just says that over and over. If you read this letter, it mentions, of course, the governor's race, CD1, 7 and 8, re-electing Lewis and Emmer and Paulson, and then mentions something that does not mention the U.S. Senate race, interestingly enough. Obviously, they're not going to put up any fight there. That's what I think, which I think is dumb, because I think that's going to drag down the ballot like it did in 2012.
Right.
And not one mention of local government, not one mention of the taxes being increased there, school district referendums, counties, TOD, roundabouts, anything that we could possibly fight was not mentioned, wasn't referenced, wasn't cared about. Nothing whatsoever. And you want to know something, MNGOP? You're not getting a nickel of my money. and I've contributed before. And until we have vision down there that understands that it's not all about CD8, not that that's not important, but it's just so, it explains, that letter is, if I were in a courtroom, that's Exhibit A of why the party's at where it's at in the state. It's Exhibit A. Sorry. I know that some people don't like it when I say this, but I'm trying to help. You and I are building the bench and trying to do that. And we're doing in spite of some people. Not because of them.
Yeah.
It's just really, it's so rough and frustrating. I don't know what to do anymore. I don't know. I can get angry. I can yell and scream. I can go off on a podcast. There's good people down there too. Don't throw. I'm not throwing everybody under the bus, but I don't see a long-term vision. 2018 aside, there's another election in 2 years. You haven't built a bench. You're useless. I mean, you're not changing the. I mean. Like I said before, Vermont has a Republican governor. Anybody think that that's a red state?
Yeah, well, and you make a good point in that for us to be thinking long term, we have to build a bench. Otherwise, we're scratching and clawing and fighting every election cycle because we're putting people up and we're not. It's kind of the throw spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks theory. Let's just throw it up there. We'll see what sticks. We'll scratch and claw every election cycle instead of being confident. Oh, this is a good candidate. Or this person can win.
Or our eggs are all in one basket.
Right.
I mean, the way we're setting it up, we don't win the governor's race.
Yeah.
We're dead in the water.
Right.
Because we've put everything into one campaign. I just found it strange how the Senate race was omitted. Just think, you're talking to donors, okay?
Right.
And a U.S. Senate race, as far as I'm concerned, has been conceded already. Sorry, but I believe I believe it's already been written off.
Wow.
So, whatever. But yeah, your point though about a guy like Stanley Hubbard, I mean, we're just using him as an example from Hubbard, but I know he's up in his 80s now, but, what something like that could do for local, or if he created a PAC and that PAC was going, the PAC can give more than the individual.
Right.
And one person can fund a PAC. Or get it going.
Yeah.
They're not subject to campaign finance. What they can give a candidate is.
Right.
I mean, what that could do for conservative candidates everywhere
for the next 30 years.
It could run. It could be. Look, you want to know a great example? How about Alliance for a Better Minnesota? Where's the right-wing version of that?
Yeah.
It's non-existent.
No.
So I mean, this is the thing. If I'd be sitting there going, why isn't something like that being created?
Yeah. I don't know.
How can they run ads against our candidates year after year after year and nobody gets the thought?
We do nothing.
to do the same thing.
We seed the ground and we say they can have it.
I hate my life.
But it's exactly what we do at the local level too. We've just said liberals can have it.
Yeah, we've said we have our token people in some places, maybe they think, or, but especially the areas that are 60%, 65% red.
Yeah.
How are they blue at the local? I still don't understand that to this day. I still don't get how that could possibly happen.
Well, because people don't have to declare a party and nobody does any research and nobody reports anything in the local papers.
And you don't have a group like ours paying attention to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a great advertisement. I mean, you need a group like ours to podcast, to blog, to do whatever.
Oh, I didn't say that on purpose to transition into that.
Well, no, I'm not transitioning. I'm just saying. I don't think I'm ready to get off my soapbox yet this week.
Well, you've been on it for a while. All right, but you know what? Let's wrap this up a little bit here.
Okay.
I mean, the point we're trying to make here is that you can find out this stuff, and you can also look at these reports, see what other people have spent money, and get a good idea what it would take for you to run, which is always important. And you can see, who when somebody knocks on your door and says they want to be your voice at City Hall, you tell them, wait a minute, where are you getting? Who are you really listening to when you 67%? Or what if I'm not a union member? What's my reason to vote for you then? I know you're going to look out for the unions first.
Absolutely.
I'll come second or third or not at all.
Yeah. Well, the answer you will get, we're looking to maintain and improve the services that the city currently provides.
And I know BS when I hear it.
Yeah. Yeah, it does boggle my mind, finances are so regulated in any industry. I mean, we've talked a little bit about the security industry, whether you're talking about that, whether you're talking about banking, whether you're talking about even for campaign finance. I mean, it's pretty regulated. I mean, you have to be able to report accurately what you bring in, but there's still the reporting of it is done, but the transparency of it stinks. and the amount of work that goes into trying to find any given candidate and find their reports is difficult. And I think probably, it's not necessarily, I hate to say on purpose, but I think that there's part of that too. I mean, do we know
I think it's
who runs the campaign finance board?
I have no idea. Couldn't tell you.
Who are they accountable to? I mean, who oversees them? Who has...
They've got to be part of some department that has a head that's appointed by the governor. Maybe it's under the Secretary of State or something. I don't know.
But I would assume, though, that state statutes govern how they run.
Probably. But, it certainly would be... they could make finding things there a whole lot simpler.
Oh, they could. I mean, you go into their citizen resources section of the website. And for those of you who want to follow along at home, just go to https://cfb.mn.gov.
Yeah, and then you could get as frustrated as we are.
But you open up the citizen resources section. I'm a citizen. I want to look something up. You can look at stuff from meetings, board decisions, more about the board, overview, legislation and rulemaking, public and subsidy of campaigns, education and tools, get involved, external resources. But, I went in and I know, initially just trying to find, campaign finance, ask you to type in the name. The name doesn't necessarily bring up the person that you're looking for. It is difficult to find anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have looked up people on there, and it's taken me forever to figure it out, how to do it. It's bad.
Once you find it, I mean, the reports aren't that difficult to navigate.
No, they can be pretty long depending on the race. But that's by design. They have to be. They're just following what the law says, so...
Yeah, I mean, as I've said a million times on this podcast, as with all good things, the Campaign Finance and Public Disclosure Board was established by the state legislature.
You've said that 2 million times.
Probably, yeah.
2 million.
Back in 1974.
Wendell Anderson years.
Yes, it was. So they were charged with the administration of Minnesota Statutes Chapter 10A, the Campaign Finance and Public Disclosure Act, as well as portions of Chapter 211B, the Fair Campaign Practices Act.
That might have been in response to federal legislation, too, because I know during Watergate is when the modern campaign finance limits came on.
Right.
Campaigns. So they might have to have that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible.
Yeah. So the board's 4 major programs are campaign finance registration and disclosure, public subsidy administration, lobbyist registration and disclosure, and economic interest disclosure by public officials. The board has 6 members appointed by the governor on a bipartisan basis and for staggered 4-year terms.
How do we know it's on a bipartisan basis?
Because they don't say they're a Democrat when Dayton puts them on there.
Oh, it's kind of like his appointing them at council. Yeah.
Yeah. The appointments must be confirmed by a 3/5 vote of the members of each house of the legislature.
Oh, so they do have to be confirmed, huh?
Yeah, they do. So, the board's mission is to promote public confidence in state government decision-making through development, administration, and enforcement of disclosure and public financing programs, which will ensure public access to and understanding of information filed with the board.
Well, that's an
They
impossible
failed.
job. Yeah, they ain't doing that.
Because I don't understand how to get your campaign reports on your website, and I do this.
Yeah,
This,
like the auditor's office. Good luck getting a CAFR without having to hunt for it for hours.
Their goal, one of their top goal and objective, facilitate easier and more universal compliance with the Campaign Finance and Public Disclosure Act. They have not facilitated easier.
Got something I can poison myself with?
Yeah. It helps citizens become better informed about public issues related to campaign finance.
What issues? What issues does that website help me on?
Trying to find campaign finance reports?
Yeah.
No. Fail.
Well, on that note, I'll tell you what. Jay, let's summarize this by saying you can try to navigate that. I think what people ought to do is do what they did in Crystal, which is put that on the website right there. Advocate for that.
Absolutely.
The information is all sitting with the city clerk. Mm-hmm. All it has to be put on the website.
So if you city council people, your mayors out there listening to our podcast,
which I know they are,
shivering in your boots,
quivering in your girdle,
you need to put this stuff on your website. If you say, I want transparency, and you don't put this stuff out on your website, you have proven that you are not for transparency.
They want transparency, but they don't want the work sessions recorded. They don't want campaign finance stuff put out there. We know BS when we hear it. Mm-hmm. And we know good stuff, like in Crystal, when they said they were going to do this stuff and did it.
Yes.
So there you be.
There you be. Wow. So, on that note, maybe you want to run for office so that you can help the transparency of your city.
Or maybe you want to be as cool as us.
That's true. Maybe you want to start a podcast or a blog and tell people
we are
about
cooler than the other side of the pillow.
Wow. That's
Stuart Scott.
Oh.
Cooler than the other side of the pillow.
Wow. Maybe you want to run for office. Maybe you want to figure out how to put infrastructure together to be organized. Maybe you want to have us out to speak to your group. We're open for all of it. But the way you do it is by contacting us at commsolutionsmn@gmail.com. commsolutionsmn@gmail.com. And by the way, send us your stories. Send us your stories. Send us what you hear is going on in your city. If we can prove it, we can find enough information to talk about it, we will. Also, we want to point you back. If you can share this information with people, you are stepping into that first level of serving your city, serving your community by pointing them in the direction of information that is going to help put them on better ground. So please go to commsolutionsmn.com, share us on Facebook, like us and retweet us. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. We're going to be on the moon pretty soon because we're starting something and we're not going to stop till our job is finished.
No question.
All right. On that note, with all of that information, you got a lot to think about over the next week. So, we love you, Minnesota, and it is time for you to get to work.